Everybody's Patrick of the Pitch Deck. We got round 4 for you guys for the CC RTN at Mad Cards. We are going up against a Dori who's going to be bringing AB2 and Oasis. We know ahead of time because in our round 2 versus Avaya, they were playing a Kano and Dori match. So Dori and Kano were there, and I saw the AB2 and I saw the Oasis at the very end. So I kept it as a mental note. Charles was the round 4 that I had played the previous weekend that I did not show you guys because the battery was not able to be charged. So we played him in Arachne and beat him. So now he's in Dori. We go first because we choose to go first. There was a bit of hesitancy for what I should do either first or second here. I don't have any defense reactions currently in this list that we're playing. As we see here, we took them out in terms of trying to help out our sideboard be better for Prism. So we Kano, we see a blue flare, we see wildfire here. I debate on whether or not I should do anything with this. It is chip damage, but I need my Sonic, or not, sorry, not my Sonic, my wildfire as fast as possible, I think. So I decide to keep it on top because it could just chip 3 damage, but he gets to filter some cards. And then all my wildfires are dead, so it's a very fast match if it gets out of hand because of the Dawnblade counters. So here we just pass up, we keep the blue. So we pocket the Tome of Find Out and Arsenal here. It is worth to note that I am not very good into Dories. Not that great. So Naked Dawnblade here isn't too scary. Pitching a Remembrance. So 1 floating with 2 cards left in hand. 3 cards, sorry. 3 cards, because the sword is a weapon. So he just pumps it up +3. So we'll take 6 here to gain back 5 and try to get some crazy tempo. So he pays into Grains with 1 floating with Iron Song Determination, which is a very good indication on what maybe he could have in his arsenal. What is more powerful than Iron Song Determination? So keep that in mind. So we go back up to 29. And we go ahead and see what's off the top here. We do have a yellow spindle, and we were told to over pitch whenever we don't have an action. So basically, I'm using this yellow. I don't want to get IP'd. So we'll flip this over and we'll see a tome. So we're doing some pretty good flipping for our top deck here. We got 2 blues left over with 1 float. Here's what I really don't understand about what I did next, where my brain was thinking, and then when I reviewed it, I was thinking, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing? So I pitched to Kano here. And we see a blue spindle off the top. And we put the token back, and we put it automatically in our graveyard. I don't know if Charles caught that or not. Like, why am I automatically putting it in my graveyard? It was banished and I didn't play it. So I don't know what my brain was doing. I don't even think it's a legal thing to do. Like, I didn't even pay for it. I don't know what my head was doing right there. It should still be banished. So we draw 2 for the cards here. You see another tome.
Time to go to the library.
We do have some clunky reds in our hand, so we're gonna pitch here to go ahead, and we're gonna kind of like test the water slightly with how his hand is, and we'll get this out of our way. So he'll take 3. That means he's got a pretty powerful turn. Now remember, he pitched a Iron Song Determination for Grains. Grains is so good against us. It's like Techlicore on steroids. So we'll go ahead and draw 2, which I think Yeah, we would have seen an eye. We would have seen an eye. It's a good thing that we went ahead and drew 2 to begin with.
Let's do I.
So we go ahead and opt to. You see a lesson? So we can kind of go ahead and punish because he doesn't want to block. It was vanilla damage, to be fair. It's just a bolt, nothing too crazy to block either. So we'll go ahead and bottom the spindle, or not the spindle, the singe. We'll go ahead and bottom it and let the banish happen. Good thing to note, guys, that you do need to keep track of your Kanos with tokens, multiple tokens, because sometimes you'll just pitch the Kano and like point, and then you'll like if you have the eye to trigger and you're deciding on what to do for the eye trigger, and maybe a little bit too, it takes a little bit too long of a decision. That's one of the things that you should probably count to yourself. Then you might forget that there's a Kano on the stack and things like that. It's also really good for extremely long Kano combos towards the end if it gets to be like a big pitch stack combo. So we go with a bigger punish here with 7 damage off of the blazing. And we'll go ahead and clean it up. And he takes 14 this entire turn, so going to be a pretty strong turn from Charles, being received back to us to the point where he doesn't do anything to lessen. So even though he has 1 grains, it still should be something that we need to take note of for sure. And so he's just going to go with a grains up and go with a
Oh, this got knocked. I had it up to 2.
Warrior's Valor. I can't even remember the damn card's name. I think that's what it is. Basically on hit, go again. So if he's willing to take the damage, all of that damage, which means he probably wants to be able to guarantee he gets a counter. But we're going to say no to the blocks here. Like we won't block, and there's no counter on it already. We're at a pretty healthy life total here. So he's going to think on the grains, and he actually does pay into it. And he will go ahead and swing one more time. So we are at 23, and it's just coming in for 3, which we should be at a pretty good life total, and we've got some pretty good cards. We have a red flare, a blazing, a blue, and a red spindle. So we can do some pretty good damage to kind of mitigate the 4th, or the +1 to make it to 4, basically the first counter. And I want you to take note what he pitches here as well. So we say no blocks. Take it to 20. And he pitches a route, which he'll then pay into grains. So if he's got a route to guarantee he gets the trigger, he's either got a yellow and won't pay into grains, or he's got a blue and he will be able to pay into grains and guarantee that he still gets it and a +3. So he's basically, he holds blues or yellows. That, or maybe his hand is actually really clunky and doesn't want to actually show his full hand until the very end. But that's how I'm reading it, is that he pitches a route. He means he probably could have guaranteed that he could have gotten, and we're down 1 card or 2 cards. For the last block, it would be guarantee the block or the card to be pushed back to hand. So I guess we're not down 1 card. Yeah. So here we're going to toss out Spindle. I think I actually should have just tossed the flare out, to be fair. But we have it to where we can use Tunic, 1 card in hand, and the 1 floating for a banish for Kano. But I think I should have went flare. I think that's more damage. He hesitates actually here. He's thinking on actually pitching for the 5. Like Spindle and Flare are really big ones to pitch on. So he takes 5 here, and which is really risky. We did go against. I'm sorry, we did play 2 tomes here already for red tomes. So It's kind of a clunky hand. We see Singe. We would have seen Gaze or a Flare play for the Kano Banish, and we would have seen a 2-cost and a potion. So maybe it was a little funky on the risk of bottoming with the opt of Gaze. This actually took a long time for this to actually think on it, because Tunic is going to be worth 5 points of damage or value. So we're going to remove 1.1 counter for 5 value, and we're going to replace it with 10 value. So we're net 5 on the positive value of pot, or basically our resources. So I had to think on that for a little bit, and now we've got 4 blues plus a spindle coming in. So he took 5, but we could have punished actually with the blazing in our hand and make sure that the guarantee rags target was a thing, but we would have to bottom the spindle. So it's a give and take, because we want reds now that or all blues now that we don't have a good target for spindle. Sorry, a good target for rags because of the spindle being bottomed. So here he comes with 5, 6. Yeah, it is coming in for 6 because of Steel Blade Supremacy. No Supremacy, drawing a card. So we're going to say no, but he was able to use 2 resources from Vigor, because Vigor is so fucking powerful in this matchup. So he does break boots. He has to decide off of the boots when he draws the card, because he can order. So he draws first and then boots. And then he can decide on grains. So now he does Pain to Grains with 2 floating. So again, draw a card. Again, I don't know if I should block here. If I block 12 and reset the counters, which I can do, because we're at a pretty good life total now here, he could probably not have enough to overshoot for repumps. He does pump it here as for an agile engagement, which means he would have 2 more cards in his hand after that agile engagement, I think, because he pays 1 into grains and gets the card back that he used for Steel Blade Supremacy. So 2 cards in hand with some floating, so maybe I could have blocked 12 to reset the counters. So I'm going for 5 here, and that's why I don't block here, because if I'm going to be taking 6, I can just go down to 8, and he has to double swing next turn. He can pay into grains still, but it makes it to where he has to use more cards. So I did not think on it to be that punishing for not blocking, but maybe I can make a thing there to say block 12 and reset the counters potentially, and get my Tunic to come back to hopefully 3. Maybe that's where I went wrong, but I am taking a risk for spindle here with 2 blues. So he does AB2 this, and he lets me opt 3, which is smart, because you do have the Vigor. It's getting down to the life totals of being lower life totals and things like that. We think on this because we have Wildfire and we have Tome and a blue. So there is a way to say that maybe we can use Tome on rags. We can draw the Wildfire, things like that. There's a whole bunch of things that we could use. So I'm not exactly sure what the best thing is here, but we do use this to draw with more resources. Basically just get the home back for free. Basically the play for it. So he has 1 floating, so we just shoot the still. It is for just for 1, and then we have 1 floating, or 1 card in our hand. We already used our action point. He just AB1s it. So maybe I wanted to push more damage to try to get me down because I know he's sitting on Oasis. I've been tracking it pretty early from the very beginning to toss away Iron Song Determination for a Grains. That's very low value resource for it, but we get rewarded here with a D-pot. And it's worth it to decide on if I should pop it now or not. And the reason is because there's 4 blues, one of them is a gaze. So it fixes our regs, quote unquote, plus it fixes what's going to be coming next. So it remains to be seen if this is worth it or not. I don't know. Let me know if you think there is a better play. Keep it for combo turn. Guarantee that I have 4 blues. So it pretty much helps me out with the combo turn as much as possible. However, he's going to be holding up a lot of cards for the combo turn. So that's one of those things that I have to think on whenever I'm approaching this next turn, because more than likely I have to do double for Wildfire. To get around the Oasis that I know he's putting in his deck, I have to get around that. So here these two will pop. Grains is really good because it gives them more resources, but it removes information for pitch so much. So here he is going to be swinging in for 5. We're at 5. I'm forcing him to play a card from hand so that he can kill me. So he does. He goes with let me see what that is. Oh, singing steel blade. So he goes with singing, which is 1 over. He really doesn't actually have to search anything. That's lethal on the stack right there. So now we have to go through 3 cards in the Oasis that we probably suspect. We know that the gaze is there, and we have to kind of do this in the correct order that I make sure that I know the resources are good, what's going to be coming as a combo ender. Gaze would be during the node check for things like that. So knowledge is power a lot of the time. When it comes to knowing that there's another wildfire being banished, I don't care. I want to have that already being a thing. You can get it to where it's a sneaky wildfire for double wildfire to get around the Oasis. Things like that. So what we do is we're trying to get the right order. So what I do is make sure we have to go with a spell first, so that way Gaze can come back to our hand as free banish and seeing the top 2 cards. We're thinking on whether or not we should let it resolve, because we still need to. We don't know what's on the top, so we can just be double reds, which means we might want those to be our combo pieces, and it's not such a great rags target. We have to probably let this resolve, and we're trying to do all the math, and that's one of the things that people need to know, that combo turn is the last turn of the game. We are facing lethal here. Let's do it slow enough, that way we can try to do all the math. We do let it go, we do let it resolve. We don't pump with Crucible if we suspect that there is an Oasis going to be played. So before that the nodes can be triggered here, we go ahead and see what's on top first. So we see a Tome, plus we see a Sonic Boom on top. It'll show it here in a second. My little angle is not great here. I redid the combo turn with Sonic, and it's not good. The fact that we'd have 2 blues, banish it, then play into it, have 2 floating, plus you need to play Wildfire as well for maybe more pumps. So it's not very good when you're trying to do max damage with double wildfire with max pumps as much as possible to get over the possible Oasis. So we pass back priority to see if he wants to do anything. No? Cool. I will go ahead and pay into it because I know I've got a tome plus a teapot that's coming down.
Before pay?
We go ahead and we pay into it.
Now pay?
Of course, I probably should have just lost the tome to let me draw before this spell resolves.
Well, first, this away.
But we would be paying into it, and then from there, probably know what's going down.
Still have a priority window, so this is just going to float, and this is going to be here.
But actually, I don't think I get an extra window. I think I have to pay after when I pass priority, and then the spell has to then... Oh, you paid into it, then I can do the tome. So I don't think I get an extra priority window, I think. So we do the rags trick like before, and then the judge actually asks us what's the hell's going on. You just rags with 4 cards in your hand. And he actually didn't see the tome.
It's gonna be very put one on top.
For, you know, if you do well at your local thing, awesome. I got my ring foil adult. It's cool. Or you luck sack the $200 marble.
So the stack is like this.
Making the marbles maintain their value.
Can I stop you there? Did you just resolve Ragnaff's health?
Yes, I did.
How many cards did you have again when you did that?
I had one.
One? Okay.
Yeah. So it was rags, then.
He played
tome.
the tome in response.
It's a tome trick. Rags tome.
We just go ahead and clarify everything. We need to see if we can sequence this right. It's going to be a hefty tall order to get around. Even through AB2. AB2 is really bad. We need to see what the
Go to 3.
Kano is for our next one. We do see that is the wildfire that we played. We got to see what's off the top here as well. And because we drew a red, it's not great. It kind of sucks. It's not good. No good. We go ahead and Kano. We have to see what the next card is. And it's a blue flare, which doesn't seem to be that great. We couldn't get max resources. Even if we did get max resources, I still don't think we get there. It'd be extremely close. But we have just 3 resources that we can pay into the wildfire plus the 1 resources that we get there. But with that, he can just like AB2 the 5, go down to 3. I'd be really good if we can just get it up to 4, but we couldn't. I still don't think 4 would have been great. It would have been probably somewhere around 3 or 4 extra damage, and we're just going to be just shy of lethal. So I think I played it probably as good as I could have. There could have been some better ones better turns where I could have played it slightly. We can only pay into it here, and then the second wildfire gets buffed, and he AB2s that as well. So he is only going to get a 2 buff. Sucks, right? He would have taken 4 from the first one, 3 from the second one after the first one resolved. And then that would have been 7 damage, and then the 7 damage would have gone to the flare, which would have been the 1 damage there, and he was on 18, so yeah, that would have been about 15 damage. Not very good. Not very good. Just shy of lethal, so I think we could have pushed a little bit more damage. I think it was the wildfire, sorry, the spindle turn. I think I should have played the flare turn. Yeah, so like flare instead of red spindle, seeing off the top. Put out the E-pot, things like that. I think I could have gotten a little bit more damage. But I think, yeah, there's nothing that we can really do. Just we have to let this resolve and just go about our day, because I think that's what we're thinking is we can't let the flare buff the wildfire because of the restriction of it being already played. So that was one of the things that we just didn't catch on real fast after that point. So He'll end up taking 2 damage in total.
Will be.
And yeah, he played it really well. I think him finding Oasis turn 0 really hurt. And we really couldn't go off during that turn too, because he had 1 floating whenever he paid into grains and had the Oasis in hand when we were Arsenal and full grip. So GG's, I think we played as best as we could. Let me know if there's anything in the comments that I could have done better. Thanks for watching. On to round number 5.